Hey everyone, it's Tom, and today I'm very excited to be sitting in a virtual room with Reyna Garcia.
Hello, everybody.
In case you're wondering what's going on, this is the first time ever that we've attempted to do a podcast by folks in the church, and I don't know about you, but I'm very excited about it. And one of the things I'm most excited about is Reyna. This podcast was your vision, your brainchild. You pitched it. You wanted to do this, and here we are. Your dream coming to fruition. And when you brought it up, you emphasized that one of the things that you wanted to do was to spend some time on sort of heavier topics, not just keep it light. Not that there's anything wrong with keeping it light, but your intention was to maybe go a little deeper and a little heavier. Can you tell folks about that and why that's important to you and why you dreamt this up in the first place?
Well, first of all, I feel like something was poking at me, like, "Hey, you got to do this, Reina. Come on," for like days and weeks, and so I'm like, "Oh man, it's like that thing that you need to do. If you don't do it, you don't feel like at peace."
Mm.
So I feel like this project it's important because I feel like it's my obligation to share my testimony or my experiences and hope that it might bring clarity to people that might be struggling to understand what or why they are going through certain situations and what they could do and what the outcome might be.
That's wonderful. Yeah, when you brought it up, it just seemed like such a wonderful thing because, as we know, uh, from church traditions, as we know from group therapy groups, as we know from a lot of pieces of the world, that when we share stories with one another, uh, we're able to kind of overcome some things, right? And I know that you've overcome a lot. And in fact, today, the topic you chose was what it's like to have someone, what it's like to live with someone who is addicted. Is that correct?
Yes.
Can you tell us why today you chose that? Why living with someone who's living with an addiction? Why did you choose that today? Why is it important to you? How does it relate to your own life and your own experience?
Well, why did I choose that topic? Well, it's like a topic that not everybody feels comfortable talking about,
Hmm.
or they feel embarrassed, or it's traumatic for them,
Hmm.
or they're shy about it. But I feel like, or they think they might be judged. But most importantly, I feel like uh, we share. If we share our testimony,
Hmm.
like we can create a bond that we can love each other and comfort each other, and perhaps our testimony might bring others clarity, and in hopes that okay, whatever God or life is revealing to me, I got clarity from other people's testimony, because sometimes we're in life, going through life, and our life is like a puzzle, and we have the pieces, but we just don't know how to connect them. Everything's there, but it's just, I feel like we have to do the clarity work.
Hmm.
And like others say, God reveals to us, and we do the clarity, the clarity part.
That's
So
really
yeah.
interesting. Yeah, I used to have a professor, Antje Jacqueline. She was a wonderful professor at the seminary, and she said uh, she was talking about theology, but I think it relates to what you're saying. She said when we do these kinds of things, we don't know why. But it's like doing the dishes. You have dirty water, sort of. You have a dirty dish, and you have a dirty rag, but still somehow when you put them all together, things become a little more clear, and you gain a little more clarity. And it
Yeah.
sounds a little bit like we have journey. We have all these sort of things that are hard to understand, but I think what I'm hearing you saying is also that by kind of talking about this and putting our stories together and sharing our own, that
Right.
yeah, which is really
Right.
cool.
Yeah. Yeah. And back to your question about the topic,
Yes,
um,
please.
having a family member
Mm,
um, being an alcoholic. So I think that's one of the topics of today, um, which also I feel like it's comes together with love. Um, I feel like the having a alcoholic family member is relevant to my life because my brother, he was an alcoholic and he died from that,
mm,
and one of the things that he told me and I got clarity of is that he didn't feel loved.
mm,
And his way of filling that void or that sense of not feeling loved was with alcohol. It numbed that feeling that he had.
mm,
And it's relevant to me because I also felt like that. I also felt like there was a void in me, um, that nobody and nothing couldn't fill.
mm,
And I feel like it was the love part. I didn't feel loved. And I found myself going through cycles over and over again with the same people, the same situations. And I was like, wait a minute, I can't do this no more. It's like, it's a sign for me to like, okay, if you do this and you say this, you're going to go back to the same cycle, the same situation.
mm,
So I'm like, oh, wait, God's trying to tell me something. Life is trying to tell me something, but I just need to figure it out.
mm.
And I feel like I figured it out. And with the alcoholism, and that could have been me, that I could have turned into an alcoholic, just like my brother. And, it was really hard. And like, I had to learn the hard way. And yeah,
Yeah, they say, right. They say alcoholism is a disease that doesn't just affect the individual who's suffering from it, but that affects the whole family. And I heard you mention that a little bit. Do you want to expound a little more? Do you want to say a little more about how it affected you? I heard you talk about cycles that you were in. Do you want to be more specific and talk about any of those cycles?
sure. I feel like the most important thing was that I was, hmm, I was trying to look for love
Mm,
like the wrong way. For example, I wanted my husband to love me a way that I wanted, that I felt like was going to fill that void. But like, he tried, but his way of love is different. And I respect that. Because I really don't want to control people or tell them what to do or how to do it, because then it wouldn't be them. It wouldn't be how they express their love. And so I thought that, okay, a man was going to make me happy,
mm,
because when I was growing up, I felt like I wasn't loved. And so, like, and I don't blame my parents, but they were so busy in work and other obligations. It was six of us in total. So, I mean, I understand that, but I feel like it all started there where I felt lonely. I didn't feel supported. I didn't feel loved. I felt empty. And I feel like that was one of the major things, is that I expected somebody to make me feel loved when I needed to make myself feel loved. I had a low self esteem. I was the one that, it was me. I was the problem, because I didn't love myself enough, because how am I going to love somebody else if I don't love myself first?
mm, mm. So how did you? I'm wondering, like, I my impression of you right now is that you are someone who loves yourself. So I'm wondering, like, along the way, how did you deal? First of all, how did you get through that? Because we all know having with addiction, right, with alcoholism comes unpredictability, right? You don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what you're going to come home to necessarily. You don't know how to help. You don't know what's hurting, right? A lot of these things come up. So there's a lot to deal with as a family member, certainly, and especially if you're one of many kids in a house that they're maybe your folks are working a lot, right? It sounds like you have downtime with the family. How did you get through that? And then, if after that, maybe you want to talk about how did you come to this place of loving yourself, if that's where you're at right now?
Yes, absolutely. It was really hard. Like it was wow, I felt like I was going through war, like literally with myself. And like I had to detach myself from people and things so that I'm able to know, okay, what is it that makes me happy? That doesn't make me happy. Material things doesn't make me happy. This person doesn't make me happy the way that I want. So it's not them, it's me. And so like
Mm,
I had to detach myself from thinking that somebody has to make me happy. And this took me years. It was years and years. Um, and yeah. So now I'm in a place where I can say, okay, I make myself happy with self care, by respecting myself, by thinking about something in the Bible that, you know, it says God is love and love for me, love is God. I'm like, okay, wait a minute. So if God is love, then if I love myself, I'm loving God. And that's all I need, you know?
mm, mm. That's powerful. How did
Yeah.
you? I'm really like. How did you get there? Like, did someone walk with you? Was this your own personal journey inside, or how did you? I mean, you said this to me the other day, and I thought it was so beautiful and incredible, and it's been stuck in my head all week. It's such a beautiful revelation that you had. I think was this just from your own personal studying, or did you? I'm just. I love it, and I hope everybody can get there. And did you have?
Right.
Yeah, what happened?
Wow. Well, like I mentioned earlier, it's like little puzzles that I had that I just had to put together. It's like my mom would tell me things from her experience,
Mhm.
and other people would tell me things from their, like certain situations. And I'm like, wait a minute. If they did that and they said that, and this was the outcome, then I shouldn't do that either because that might be the outcome. And I don't want that to happen to me. And so this is the reason why I feel like it's very important for us to share our experiences, even though it might be personal or traumatic, it might bring clarity to others. It was just not me. It was life, God, other people, situations that kept coming up, and I'm like, okay, this is a lesson. I need to learn something out of it. So my God's trying to tell me something. I'm like, okay. So I came to this conclusion where if I love myself, since we're made in His image, I'm loving Him, and that's all that is important. And everything else is like a cherry on top.
Mm, that's beautiful. I really appreciate that, and I think you saying that it moves something in me, and it's a reminder in me uh, that it's important to do just what you said, and to accept and to love ourselves, and yeah, it's very moving to me, and so I'm really grateful for you to share that, and I'll be carrying that with me for a long time now, and I'll hear your voice when I start to doubt my own self. So what I wanted to ask you about next, then, really is I'm so glad to hear what you have to say. I assume that the doubts sneak in. I assume that sometimes you doubt your self-worth, right? I assume that you get a little
Yes,
disturbed and
yeah,
shaken. I think that happens to everybody. I think it's very
yeah.
normal. How does life look differently now, or how do you deal with that when it does come up still?
Well, I just when I feel like that, I'm like, okay, this is not a place where I ask myself, is this a place where you want to be, Reina? I'm like, no, I don't want to be in that same place or situation. And I just tell myself, you're beautiful, Reina. You're smart. You're everything from the list. And I listen to positive music um, makes me feel beautiful and loved.
Mm,
And um, yeah.
mm. That's incredible. Thank you. I want to shift gears a little bit right now and uh, ask you. Uh, we have listeners from all different backgrounds. I'm assuming on this very first podcast of ours, Reina, we have lots of people
Hopefully.
among our millions of listeners. I'm certain that at least a few of them can absolutely relate to your story and to what you're saying. And if they're at a different point on their journey or a different place on their path, what kind of advice would you give them? What kind of advice would you give someone who's living with an addict or an alcoholic right now and trying to figure things out? What advice would you offer them?
Well, like how I dealt with it,
Mhm.
I feel like people should detach themselves from situations and people because we can't control everything. We can't control situations and people. And, by you detaching yourself from those things, it's like you're living it up to God and just give him your worries, your anxiety, your fear, your anger, because that's not going to do anything positive for you. It's just going to affect you in a negative way in the long run.
Mm,
And,
mm,
just stay strong and repeat to yourself that you're loved and, it's in God's hands and
mm,
pray.
mm. Can I ask you just to clarify what it when you say detach yourself? Like, what does that look like? Are there tools to do that, or is there a thought process that goes from being attached to detach? Like, how do you get to detachment? What's that journey look like?
I guess, like, when I say detachment, it's like, don't be obsessive
Huh.
to control the outcome,
Okay.
to control the person, to control the situation, because at the end of the day, we all have free will and we're all going to do what we feel is right for us.
Mhm.
And if you just detach yourself from the situation and the person, it's like you don't carry that burden that doesn't belong to you. It's the other person or you know?
Mhm. No, that's really helpful. Thank you. Yeah, yeah, that's really good. Really good in clarifying. Yeah, I know in a lot of recovery programs they say, right, you can't control people, places, or things, and I
Yes.
think this idea of letting go. I remember there's this old Buddhist saying, like, written on the wall somewhere, that it's talking about anger, and it said, "Holding on to anger is like holding on to hot coals. The only one who gets burnt is yourself."
Exactly. Yes.
You're not punishing someone by being angry at them, right? It's not affecting them, right? It's just giving you ulcers, right? And
Yeah.
so I really appreciate this, and I think this the language you use of detachment is very helpful, especially if I picture hanging on and
Yes.
kind of letting go in that sense. It's really helpful, So thank you for that. So the next question is, and this is our final question as we're running out of time. But what pieces of knowledge, having the experiences you've had and learning what you've learned, what pieces of knowledge would you wish to pass on to our youth, to your kids, to the kids who may be listening, to the young adults who may be listening? What piece of knowledge would you like to offer young people?
Well, for the young people, eventually, well, if it comes to that point where they have children or they adopt or, whatever situation brings children in when they're older, love them. Show them that you love them. support them, encourage them. And I feel like that's a very important tool that every parent should have, because that's going to hopefully help their children in the long run by not trying to look for that void and that love that they didn't feel when they were younger with their parents, or they try to fill it up with drugs and, like, or other people, like, no, you have to make me happy, when they have to make themselves happy and love themselves
Mm.
first so that they're able to love others the way that God wants us to love.
Mm. That's beautiful. And I assume you're doing that with your girls right now, right? What does that look
Yeah.
like? What does that look like for you in practice?
Oh
The
my
love and
gosh.
love.
I feel like it's a blessing. I thank God for being able to stay home. I know not everybody's able to stay home, they have bills to pay and other things, but I feel like quality time is very important for children, and it starts from the beginning. And like I said, my parents work, both of them, full-time jobs, and like I feel like my parents taught me a lesson to change something in my life, in my future, so that we're able to make a difference for our children, and they're gonna be able to make a difference for their children, and feel love. Like, all we need is, I think, love is important for us to love ourselves.
Well, that's again, Raina, I am struck by the beauty of your words and the power of them, and this call to both accept and love ourselves, and to love God by doing that. I just I think this is incredible, and it's if your family, if your daughters are any testimony to your love, you have a lot of it, because they are incredible people, and two of them are incredible young adults now, and they're just impressive and wonderful. So I think your
Yeah.
love is working.
I hope so. I hope so. And I asked them, is there anything that I could do different that you would do? Like, or I asked them as children, because they're the ones that are living with me. I might not know something that I might be doing wrong, or saying things that I shouldn't. And I asked them, well, what is it that you think that I'm doing wrong, or saying things that is wrong? And they tell me.
Mm,
And we I try to change that. And I think we should listen to our children, because they're the ones that are living with us.
mm, mm. So as our time winds down together, Reina, as we come to an end, is there anything else you'd like to add to the conversation that maybe we missed, or that you would have liked to have said?
I guess just one, like, I think I said it before, but to love ourselves, you know, as God would love us, since we're made in his image. I feel like that's one thing that I want people to remember and take with them. God is love, and you are love. And so if you love yourself,
Hmm.
that's all we need.
Well, those are beautiful words to end with, and I think we can pause there. And I just want to say again, thank you so much for dreaming up doing this, and I think we're going to look forward to doing some more. Is that right?
Yes, hopefully, yes.
Wonderful. So, okay, well, I guess thanks for being here, and we'll say bye to everyone at home, and thanks for joining us for our pilot podcast. Woohoo!
Yes, thank you. Thank you for your time and your yeah.